Howdy everybody, here for my monthly garden walk. This time we're in March. Starting off, this is the permaculture island that I showed how to make a while back. The center of it is my shea tree. Now we're starting to get the garlic to pop up. Now, I am in temperate zone, particularly this is zone 5, zone 6, right on the border. But that, I believe, is a tulip, and somehow the mulch got pulled up and away from it, but it'll survive just fine like that. Another garlic in the middle. I'll zoom in on that right there. But yeah, we'll still get a couple more freezes and thaws. That's not unexpected for here, but certainly off to a beautiful start. Right here is geranium. It looks dead, but it might come back. Over here we had a chrysanthemum, really beautiful chrysanthemum from, oh, where did I buy this one from? That was Bluestone Perennials. I believe the geranium was from Richter's. The garlic might have been Gurney's, I don't remember. But I'm going to make a cut here, and we're going to continue on some more of the permaculture gardens. Alright, we're back over here. This one was a seedling chestnut, if I remember correctly. Yeah, this was a Licora seedling. The tree died and came right back from the roots, so while this tree doesn't look impressive yet, it'll probably do just fine. Over here I planted a black currant and it did not make it at all, but I planted strawberries around it and they're taking over, so they're going to move right over to where they want to be, wherever that ends up being. Some asparagus back there, that'll come up again in spring. Moving along right over here, this is the one of my Rose of Sharon, or cold hardy hibiscus. Right up here was a right up here was a seed pod. I don't mind them spreading in this area, though some people say they can become invasive. I haven't had that problem before, but there you can see some of the seeds. This was a kind of a purplish toned variety, or at least it's supposed to be. There's some mint on the base. In fact, if I get close, I think I see some of the mint is actually coming up. It's not time for it to come up, but yeah, that's mint. Here we have a lavender. It doesn't look great, but there's some green still on it. Some cloves in there that are barely coming up, but they're there. As we keep walking, here we have a older chestnut. I bought this at the same time as that last one we looked at. Sorry about the road noise. I only have 4 acres, so a lot of this is by the road. But this was a colossal chestnut seedling, so it may have very large nuts. Now, I've considered moving this one and the other one out towards the rest of the chestnut orchard, but I just haven't made up my mind yet. But, yep, colossal chestnut seedling. Right next to it, all this is sage. Should probably trim it back, but there's some green growth down at the bottom, so the sage survived winter just fine. I'm not surprised. Keep on moving. Here's another Rose of Sharon. This one's a little shorter, but it grew quite well. Moving along, here is a couple of unique things to find. This is a red bud, and that looks to be a tulip that, again, I meant to bury quite well, but it seems like it's kind of dug itself back out. Huh. Well, I will do my best to scoot some chips in and around and all over it. But yeah, tulips are pretty tough. There's some garlic down there too. Here's another one of my cold hardy yucca. For those that are new, my cold hardy yucca were all for free Somebody threw out a bunch of them, just yanked them up and left them to die, so I grabbed them. Here's an oddball. This is a Kusa dogwood, but the nursery I bought it from had been laying on the ground for a long time, so it grew up towards the light in that direction, and now I've just got this really sideways tree. I could stake it and fix it, but I'm kind of looking forward to how unique it's going to look. And then hiding behind it, didn't see this on a previous filming, but these are the seed pods for Nigella. Nigella are really, really beautiful. One of my mom's favorite plants. There's more of them down here. I'm gonna bust these open. See, those little black seeds are Nigella seeds. So I'm actually gonna kind of spread them around a little. Quite happy to have them. Here's a walking onion. Here's another clove right there. But this one, since there were a couple, we're going to take with us and scatter them somewhere else. Here's another cold hardy yucca. Here we have one of these really beautiful sweet bay magnolia. Over in here, more tulips popping up out of the ground. I believe I got most of my tulips this year from Rare Seeds or Baker Creek, same company. Right in here there's some Saskatoons, some strawberries, and then right up here, this is my big, tall, beautiful redbud. And growing up it, those vines, they're an annual vine, so they're not coming back. It's fine to just peel them down, get them off, but these were my Potawatomi, maybe that's a better pronunciation. I'm still working on it. Someone showed me in a previous video how to pronounce them, but I had one of their bean varieties, rabbit beans. Big bunch of beautiful, beautiful tulips are going to come up here. Looks like some daffodils right there. Daffodils and garlic are hard to tell apart, but I'm pretty sure that's what that is. These look like actual garlic. The gravel got pulled up during the big freeze when we had to plow our own road. Another car coming by. Sorry for the noise, everyone. But another tulip there, another tulip there. Hopefully the tulips aren't hurt when we get cold again, because March in my area is not the end of winter. So I think that deep freeze kind of confused everything. Here's one more magnolia. This one's on the small side. I don't know why it's on the small side, it just always has been. I'm trying to baby it and get it caught up. Now we're heading into the garden proper. Over here is a jujube, cold hardy yucca, some more tulips, some more garlic, another walking onion right there. Heading over here, I'll probably be digging and working around here soon, but there's some comfrey, and there's a lot of vines here that were potatoes. So there's a bunch of potatoes underneath the mulch here for me to start digging out. Potatoes can stay under the mulch all year in my environment. Here's a cornelian cherry, or a cornelian dogwood. Really beautiful. Another sage plant. Back over here we have a river locust. They're nice nitrogen fixer, very nice, thornless. At least my variety is. Here's one of my first four aronias that I have up towards the front of the property. Nice healthy looking buds. There's a garlic, columbine, some more garlic. All looking quite good here. Start moving forward, and we have one of my two gummy berries. Another car's coming by, so I apologize for the noise, but gummy berry, quite good looking, quite healthy. And long thorns, not super long compared to some of the others, but fairly long thorns. Some garlic and things like that popping up around it. Right across from it, here's another aronia berry with some soshan or cutleaf coneflower growing. I think I'm going to sprinkle a little nigella around this right here, just some of them. Yep, just a couple nigella seeds right there by that gummy berry. Keep walking. We're going to run into one of my other Kusa dogwoods. It has a walking onion there, and some garlic or maybe a daffodil coming up there. Here's my other gummy berry. Very, very long thorns. I'm going to take the rest of this nigella, drop it on the ground right there. And lots of garlic around it. Incredibly long thorns. But this one did take very heavy forage damage. So it's probably just adapting and trying to keep itself alive. Here's my largest aronia. Again, quite big, quite beautiful. More tulips around the base. All this dead stuff is asparagus that grows alongside it fairly well. Just all in all, a very, very pretty spot. Right here is a baptisia. Should come back from winter just fine. Right over here, I dug out a bunch of sweet potatoes. I had a video on that. And now it's just sort of a garlic patch. Lots of garlic all around. Keep moving along. Here's one of my pears. I believe this is an Ann pear. No, not pear. Plum. It's plum. But it's grown quite well. Hasn't produced, but it's grown quite well. Have a couple pears. Back over here, we're going to my last aronia. I have a ton of this bergamot. I'm trying to remember the name. Eastern bee balm. Lots of it right here. And there's the aronia itself. So that one's looking quite nice. Big asparagus right here. And then walking a little further over this way, there's some corn cob and stuff like that just thrown around as compost. But right here is another Rose of Sharon that hopefully will grow quite well. And that connects over, big asparagus patch, big comfrey patch, and in the middle here is my medlar, which will have beautiful blooms in spring and hopefully will produce fruit this year. It produced blooms last year, but no fruit. A lot of the blooms got eaten by deer. But, oh, and down low to the ground, right there, looks kind of ruffled. These are horehound, medicinal herb in the mint family, so it's pretty tough. I won't walk us through the entire depth of this orchard this time around because there's just not much pretty stuff to look at. But here's one of my largest trees right now. This is my green gauge plum. It shockingly doesn't flower. Despite its size, I would have thought by now it would be flowering, but it is what it is. My Ponca blackberry. It produced for its first time last year, but I'm hoping for a lot more production this year. I definitely planted it too close because they are tangling together. I'll have to dig it up and transport it. It would probably be even easier to just clone it and transport the clone, but it's a trademarked variety, so that might not be legally advisable. More tulips. We'll start moving along this way. Here we have my Calypso Red Love, or Red Love Calypso, however it should be said. But it's a red-fleshed apple. It's quite nice looking. And here, looks like something has dug some of them up. So these ones that were on the surface are all mush and no good. But another one of my potatoes. So a couple by the surface that are no good, but I'll bet if I dig down, there's plenty that are good. Here's another, geranium. And comfrey. Looks like there's another comfrey in over here. Lots of raspberry. Start moving along. my Arkansas black apple. And I'll head in a little bit. I know I just said I wouldn't, but I'm just following the same path I've been following every episode for a while. I feel like it's boring. Oh, sounds like my cats are fighting each other. I'm sorry if that's picked up. When you have feral cats, they'll do that. But look at all this comfrey. I could probably divide it if I wanted to, without much of any trouble. Some asparagus. Here we have something that volunteered, but it froze back or got chewed back. Here we have a ton of Soshan, cut leaf coneflower. Right here is a sorbus pear, mountain ash pear hybrid. Over here, I'm really hopeful because this tree is dead. This was a mulberry, actual domesticated mulberry, but it died its first winter. Right here I have the same variety, but it's on its own rootstock, so it shouldn't have the same problems. I really hope it lives. I'm just going to do a little scratch test. A little scratch test is not looking good. It looks pretty much like it died again. Man. Yeah, it looks like it died again. We'll see. But that might be all bad news. Alright, heading in this way. Got some asparagus. And right here, growing up in the middle, this is a purple passion apple, or crab apple, maybe more accurate. Produces small, red-fleshed apples. But something unexpected I don't normally get to show if I'm careful and quiet. There's one of our kitties. Yeah. Hi there. Yep, that got her attention. Yep. So I'm not just making it up when I talk about them. We got a lot of kitties out here. I think that they sort of view this whole area as their playground. They catch the mice and everything out here and take good care of my orchard. We feed and shelter them, give them medicine when we see that they're not doing well. But yep, she's just chilling out here wondering why I'm in her area, even though I planted these. Right in there you can see a couple things, bee balm, big asparagus plant, but I'm gonna start heading back along the usual path and leave her be, because I don't want to scare her off. And like I said, there's just not a lot to see out there. But as I head over this way, I have an Asian pear, specifically this one's from Gurney's. It's 2-in-1 grafted, so some of these branches are one flavor, some of these branches are another flavor, but I'm quite excited for it. Down low, more of that Soshan. Here's a walking onion that's popped up out of the ground, and so all I'm going to do is put the dirt back around it. Right like that. Then right there is bloody dock, or red sorrel. It looks quite good. We're going to head back out of this area, start moving out, and right in here was another spot that I had sweet potatoes. Dug those up a long time ago. Got strawberries and garlic around here. Lots of dead tomatoes that were all volunteers. Here I have a chestnut crab apple. These ones were from St. Lawrence Nursery. The Odisso, the Purple Passion, and that one, they were all from them. Over here we have a Contender Peach from Rural King that I'm really hoping does alright. Have a Royal Purple Raspberry. Hopefully it does well. Some more strawberries way in there. Strawberries I just kind of let go wild. It's not as good for yield, but I don't mind having a ton of them, and in the future I think they'll make a nice ground cover. Right in here, this is a bush cherry, but my other bush cherry died, so it doesn't have a pollinator. I need to go buy another. But another Arkansas black apple right there. Tulip coming up, and if you really look right in there is one of my prickly pears, cold hardy prickly pear. Continue on out towards the end of the orchard. Right here is a yellow russet apple. There's a tiny start of I believe that's a dianthus, maybe? But tiny start of a plant there. Some more garlic. Right here we have another peach, contender peach, and strawberries all around the base. Moving along, we have more cold hardy prickly pears, and just stepping in and around this area, we have an pluot, so a plum and an apricot combination, and a pluary. And these two are supposed to pollinate each other, so I planted them way closer than I should, but they've got a ton of space around them, so it should be fine. Some more comfrey down there doing well. And if anyone wants to buy some of these prickly pear pads, I could probably ship them relatively cheaply, and you just got to stick them in the ground. They generally will take root really easy all on their own. You know, this one's moved all the way over here just with the thawing snow, and it'll probably take root. They don't do well with grass competition, so they don't really take over. There's not a lot of risk of them taking over. But they're very nice. They're like aloe vera for a cold hardy climate. Got a gooseberry right there. Got an Archer thyme. All this is Archer's Gold thyme. Another walking onion. There's a prickly pear there that's covered in comfrey. Right here is a peace garden apple, also from St. Lawrence Nursery. Let me just, like that, give it some access to some sunshine, and we'll head on out. We're getting close to done here. Oh, there's another chrysanthemum. There's the bloom on the end. But one more kitty watching us, seeing what we're up to. Yep. Unfortunately, I probably will spook her because we're heading that way next, but I'm going to make a cut here, and we're going to head to the nut orchard next. See y'all in a minute. All right, everybody. Whole lot less to see out here, I feel like, but we'll start out. Right here is a beautiful, beautiful example of a cross between a peach and a almond. So it's a almond tree that is cold hardy, but everything else here is going to be dormant still. This is where my Apios americana mainly grows. Over here on both sides, here and straight across there, are my native plums. So the native plums are quite good. Very tart skins, so people will blanch them and then peel them out. There's a shagbark hickory. Over here is one of my two nannyberry viburnums. They're quite small still, but I did just plant them last year. Nannyberries are a great native food source for the birds and us. Right in here is one of my first videos. I showed how to plant a cold hardy pecan. That's one of the ones I planted. And the other one's gonna be right over here. We'll walk over to see it. Yep, they're both quite small right now, but give them some time. And over here, got one of my pawpaw trees. I believe this variety is mango. Got that from One Green World. Over here is one of my 4 Japanese walnuts grafted on American black walnut. So they have a growth habit like American black walnut now instead of the Japanese walnut. So I'm really excited to see when and how much these will produce. They did flower last year, or at least a couple of them did, but I didn't encourage them to actually fruit because it was only their second year. Heading into their third, I'll think about it. But I've got a couple of those. Let's see. Just walking along. Right here is one of the compost piles I showed in a recent video how to make. Looks like some kind of critter dug into it a bit, but there's still a lot of nutrients there that they didn't disturb. Right in here, I planted another mulberry. This one's a different type. Hopefully it'll make it, but it's down in that tube still. It's got a garlic right there, and yarrow. Lots of yarrow coming up around it. Yarrow is a great native, kind of a herbal companion plant. Traveling straight across here, another native plum. Over here we've got chestnuts. In fact, the whole rest of the property is chestnuts, although I will be mixing in other things in the future like hazelnuts and sea berry. Another native plum, another chestnut. And then as we head back this way, this is a Bart nut. I've got two Bart nuts. These are a cross between American white walnut and American white walnut and Japanese heart nut. So they're called Bart nuts. Walking along, we're heading back towards the main area. Here's another one of my Japanese walnuts, or Japanese heart nuts. Right here, this kind of sprawling, scraggly tree is a thornless honey locust. It's supposed to have pretty good parentage, produce good pods, we'll see. But I'm really excited for that. You can make a sugar substitute out of them. As I walk around this way, I talked a bit about this one last video, but here's my American persimmon. I believe this variety was either meter or proc. I'll bet I can still check the tag down here. Meter, yep. And also from One Green World. It's got garlic next to it, a daylily over there. Continuing on my walk, I really ought to move all of my walnuts to these tubes. It's probably healthier, but this was my shortest, weakest Japanese walnut, and when I put it in that tube, it just shot right out the top. It's taller than I am, so it seems like that tube does them a lot of good. But I'm starting to run out of things to show off at this point. This big kind of dished out area is where I harvested that huge sunchoke quite a while back. Made a long video on harvesting sunchokes. Right in there, there's some comfrey popping up right next to this big, beautiful seedless honey locust. So hopefully y'all enjoyed the video. Hopefully y'all are excited for what's coming this year. I can't wait until I get to start seeing everything wake up and grow and share the beautiful blooms, the beautiful food, the beautiful harvest. I'm just so excited for everything about it. So I will see you all in the next video as soon as I can. And until then, be safe, be happy. Subscribe if you haven't already. Consider supporting me on Patreon if you want to see more things like this. Last year we raised over $600, which I am investing entirely back into the property. So I will see you in the next video as soon as I can. Goodbye, everybody.